Michael Cranick sentenced Boone to the maximum punishment, life behind bars. Today, Boone sent the judge a 28-page letter which included everything, word for word, that she said during her sentencing. She also added notes for Judge Cranick, calling him ignorant, saying his mind was made up before she even spoke last week. In the letter, she says, quote, "By your clear error and full-blown unfair bias against me since your involvement in my Crucible case as a whole, I have been unsuccessful in receiving anything from you as a supposed fair and neutral judge, except for your wish that I spend the rest of my life in prison." It goes on to say she forgives the judge, and she signs it, quote, "I am not a murderer, I am a survivor," which she underlines. Boone tells the judge she is, quote, "no longer in his corrupt court." We did reach out to the attorney who is listed on Boone's appeal. He just responded within moments ago, saying he does not handle appeals and he's asked the court to appoint someone else.
Welcome back. Hope you're having a good day. While organ donor Sarah Boone writes more letters for us to enjoy, right in time for the holidays. Let's rewind to closing arguments starring James Owens. Watch as the former prosecutor fumbles, misreads the room, and fights for his client's freedom. Prosecutors came out swinging. Mr. Owens was hit with a knockout, causing him to think the jury was actually on his side.
In a few moments, Mr. Owens will rise, and he is going to show you this. And this. And this. And he's going to talk, and this as well, about the list of grievances that Sarah Boone had for George Torres. He's going to talk to you about curtain rods. He's going to talk to you about black eyes. He's going to talk to you about what an awful, awful boyfriend George Torres was. And ladies and gentlemen, at the end of all of that, it still will not change the fact that the defendant is not entitled to the justifiable use of deadly force.
I need to talk about the case a little bit. And if you'll remember, I'll get back to it. If you'll remember, that's what place I need to go. Let's start with the witnesses, and then I'll talk about Sarah. The police knew what was going on. The neighbors knew what was going on. The state attorney referred to these pictures, and I was going to rise up and show these pictures to you.
Overruled. You may proceed.
And I was going to rise up and show these pictures to you. Well, yeah, I'm going to do that. They put her on trial for murder. What did they say? And I got to turn to this, make sure I get this exactly like they said it. I took a bunch of notes. Let me make sure I got this quote. Can't even find it, but it was something to the effect, maybe George Torres is the battered spouse. Can you believe it? Can you believe that? Now you know why we're here. Now you know why we're here. Little boys learn early on that girls are different. You do not put your hands on a girl.
How much vodka was in that bottle?
You can't wrestle with them, you can't punch them, you can't kick them. You can't treat women that way. When you become adults, I don't care what she does to you.
You're
I don't care
despicable.
what she says to you. If she gets in your face, whatever she does, you do not have a right to hit a woman. No, sir. What has the state attorney tried to do?
Objection, upper argument.
Sustained.
What have they done?
Objection.
What evidence have they tried to put on?
Overruled.
What evidence have they tried to paint Sarah as? What evidence? You know, this ain't the 1900s. This is 2024. What's all these text messages? Why is that relevant? What are they trying to claim? She provoked his violence? She provoked his violence. Isn't that what they've done here in this trial?
Upper argument.
Sustained.
I'm gonna get back on this.
Why you should disregard every bit of her testimony, from court to the detectives, to the 911 operator, to the doctors. Her testimony, if it is to be believed, the most favorable light that she has presented of herself, is that at the end of a Sunday fun day, where we are drinking, we're outside by the dartboard, we're doing puzzles, we're doing arts and crafts, and there finally comes a point in time where we're going to play hide and seek. And he says, "Tag, you're it." Even though she's it, she goes upstairs, hides in the shower, eventually gets tired of being there, it's cold, so on and so forth, and she comes back downstairs. And as she comes back downstairs, she can see Mr. Torres fiddling to place himself inside the suitcase to try and hide for this game. And the lid is not closed and it's flapping. And out of jest, out of levity, undisputed according to her testimony, she comes over there and zips it shut. Whether it's 100% or enough for 2 fingers to get out, that is something that you decide as the jury. But there came a point in time where the fun and games was over. And Mr. Torres told her that. "Babe, I can't breathe. Sarah, babe, let me out. This is all on video. We don't have to imagine this. This is all on video, 1062. At that point in time, she is using force against him that is not justified. She is the initial provocateur. She is the aggressor under the law. And what level of force is it? I can't breathe. Not let go of my hand, not get your hands off me. I can't breathe. These are the two paragraphs that solve this equation without getting up on a big whiteboard in college that's 30 feet long, 15 feet high, and a ladder, and somebody's scribbling Latin words and Greek letters for months and months to solve this huge, complicated equation. The equation is solved in two paragraphs. She is the initial aggressor. He is saying, I can't breathe. It is no different than a naked chokehold that she does not let go of. And she told you it's because I want him to listen to me. This is my bully pulpit. This is how he made me feel in the past. The testimony from the defendant is George Torres' head is here. You can stand if you need. You've been sitting a long time too. His head is here. His butt is kind of down here. His feet are here. And his hands and his knees are up here. He's in the fetal position, if we remember right. The hematoma on his head is on the left side. The bruises, the deep bruises on his back, are on his left side. You hear that? That's solid. You don't have to accept that she put those marks on him when he was in there. The evidence doesn't support it. You can conclude she used this bat when he was outside the suitcase. You don't have to believe her when she said they were playing hide and seek. You don't have to believe her because she doesn't know the rules. She came downstairs, saw what she had done, and had all the opportunity in the world to clean up whatever mess may have been at the bottom of the stairs. But ladies and gentlemen, physics doesn't lie. It's inconsistent that he received the hematoma to his head, his bloody mouth. How is his mouth getting bloodied inside the suitcase? That's protected from her and her bat. But that suitcase, a 100-pound drunk woman is not beating through the wood of that suitcase or whatever it is that's making that noise when it's thumped. Ladies and gentlemen, those injuries happened outside of the suitcase. Ladies and gentlemen, somebody or something went down those stairs. She has no injuries consistent with going down the stairs. He does. He has blunt force trauma all over him. You don't have to buy her story, and you shouldn't.
All right, after the puzzle, what did y'all do?
I decided to continue to maintain and focus him, and I have a bunch of paints that I used of my son's that his grandmother bought him. It's a very big art wooden box, and it's got pastels, pencils, paint, any kind of whatever. And he and I were very much into art, and with this resource, it got him very interested in being more creative.
How long have you been into art?
Ever since I can remember. As a child,
You like to draw?
I like to do anything artistic.
And I know, we saw some of the pictures of your apartment, but it looks like there was pictures and artwork up. Is that all your work and George's work?
The majority of it, yes, are belongings from my home, and then also some of George's, yes, on the wall.
Both live together. Yes, every relationship has their arguments, but we are not the type of people that you guys are portraying us to be.
She
Especially her.
Clearly, George Torres is dominating the defendant. Clearly, George Torres is the one telling the defendant what to do. Clearly, George Torres is the one calling the shots at 4748 France Lane. Ladies and gentlemen, are we so sure that George Torres wasn't the person suffering from battered spouse syndrome.
Well, that was a train wreck. James and Sarah failed miserably, proving her innocence. Prosecutors did a fantastic job, exposed Sarah for the psycho she is. As she sat there emotionless, unfazed by the trial, smug and condescending, flirting and smiling at the court, Sarah really believed she was going home that day. Sarah has forgiven everyone for not believing her unbelievable story. All of her documentation backfired, and she ran out of lies. This time, George was speaking from the grave, and Sarah couldn't stop him. The baby voice didn't work this time, and Brian couldn't save her like usual. No more fleeing. James Owens was her last chance. She now has to face her consequences. Rumor has it James and Sarah have a movie or book deal in the works. Would you tune in?
Sentence. How did you talk to her after? How is she feeling?
Well, she did say something to me to the effect that, can you believe it? I got life. And I said, no. So.
If you made it this far, thank you. Don't forget to like and subscribe.